It's Brenda Miller from Stampin' Up. I've been a demonstrator for over 25 years, and I go live every Wednesday um, at 3 o'clock Eastern Time to share with you some of the projects that I've been working on and to give you some tips and tricks along the way. And today I have a holiday card, and I'm very excited to share with you how I made this card. I'll hold it up here, and then we'll take it down to the desktop so that you can see. Oops, I'm not going to do that. I put a new background on my StreamYard, and so you don't have to look at my best messy craft room, but I can't hold things up, looks like. So that's okay. We'll head over to my desktop and take a look and get started. Here we go. All right, so this is the card I was trying to show you. This is made with the Merriest Trees bundle and the Winter Garden Designer Series papers. So let me show you those products. We have the Merriest Trees bundle. It's right here, and I love that it has this big tree that can actually be cut to different sizes, okay? I'll show you how we do that. We have some detail, we have some presents, and we have some great sentiments on here. So if we look at the dies, I have mine on 2 magnetic sheets just to help me keep things organized, and I have some of them set aside for the card. But as you can see, we have trees of different sizes here, plus the one that we're going to be using, which is this one. And they all they layer into each other, so you can see how that would work. And that's why there's only one tree stamp, but you can get all of these trees out of it. So there's 2 more down here. So I'm going to show you how that works. And then we have our stamps in there. And then we have the Winter Garden Designer Series paper. And that is in our holiday catalog. That's on the wrong page, one page off. And that's right here. So you can see, here we go. You can see the different designs. It's hard for me to show that on my the way that my setup is, but you can see they're really pretty. And we actually, this weekend at a 35 for 35 event, we got to see the original artwork that this was created from. And what's interesting is that each of these designs were actually hand painted with watercolors on watercolor paper, and then they were photographed for the papers themselves. So really interesting on how that process works, and we were lucky to be able to see that. So let's go ahead and get started on this card, and you can see some of the different things that we do. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take our pretty Peacock cardstock, and it's just a standard 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock, and let's cut it in half. I'm sorry, I folded it in half and give it a good score with our score bone. And then, as I always like to do, I'm going to take a piece of basic white and put it on the inside. Not too many of these Stampin' Seals. Here we go. I'm going to just use Stampin' Seal for this process. Just our dry adhesive. And I like to put that on the inside so when we write our messages for our cards, we can see what it says. Okay, now we're going to work directly on the card front. And we're going to take the Designer Series paper. So here's the paper. This is these beautiful little trees, and they're, bluish. So on my blog, I've called it a bluish Christmas card that we're making. You can see the reverse side is kind of just a watercolor wash using the same color. And I've cut these. They're, I believe these are 2.5 inches wide, and this one is 1 3/8 inches tall, and this is 3 5/8 inches tall. All the measurements will be in the comments for the video, as well as on my blog at brendamillersu.com. If you get a chance to go over to my blog, take a look. I've just had it redone. A lovely young woman here where I live is kind of starting her business, and she has redone my blog so that it's more manageable for me, and it looks prettier. I can say that for sure. I was just sort of winging it. I had taken a class, but it looks a lot better now. So I've gone ahead and you can see that I put the big piece on the left side, top left, and the bottom piece on the right, bottom right. Now I took two pieces of 1.5 inches by, this one is 1 5/8, and this is, I'm sorry, it's 1 inch and 3/8 inches wide, I believe. That you have to check the measurements, but these two pieces of Lost Lagoon cardstock, and I put them through the embossing folder. I love this embossing folder. It does not come with the bundle. It's sold separately. So this is the 3D embossing folder, and it's called Snowflake Sky. See how pretty that is? So I just went ahead and shot that through and came out with these pieces. And so this is how I'm making my background. And I was looking at some of the cards I've been doing recently, and I've employed different ways of using smaller pieces of paper combined like this in a background several times. So if you look at my blog or my Facebook page, you'll see that there are lots of different ways that I've done the same process. So it's just kind of funny that it came out that way. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces adhered, and we have our background. So I'm going to put that aside. And I went ahead and I used this fabulous die that's included in the bundle. And it's just a big tag. And it's always great to have tags. They make a great backdrop for a focal point on any project that you're doing, or they can stand alone as tags. With the holiday season, having tags is always a great option. So I use that to cut out a basic white, and I have this nice white tag. So I'm going to be using that. And then on another piece of basic white cardstock, I'm going to stamp that big stamp that I alluded to before. And you can see here that it is the from the set, and you see how it has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Holding it too close there. So it's a big stamp, and you'll see that when I go to put it to my paper, it's actually too big for my paper, but that's okay because I'm going to be using the die that cuts out the top 4 layers, if you will, of the tree. Now, when I work with a big stamp, I like to work with it upside down, and I'm using my Lost Lagoon ink pad, and I'm going to just tap it, tap, tap, tap. Needs a lot of taps though to get it inked up. Okay, so that's nice and inky. And I'm going to put it on this smaller piece of cardstock. I'm just going to make sure I do get the top of it because I want to make sure that I have that. And I'm going to press firmly to make sure that the color gets down. And here we go. Now, I can tell you that we made this card in class the other night, and I probably need to re-ink my ink pad. So it's a little bit lighter than some of my first cards that I made with it. But even so, you'll see if I show you the original, it looks like this is still darker than what that is that I had on there. But as it dries, it actually lightens a little bit. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to take the pretty Peacock ink pad, and I'm going to use the stamp that says, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and it's designed to go on the tree. So it's kind of in the shape of a tree. And I've seen this used just stand alone to represent a tree on a card. But I'm going to actually use it right on top. And this color, Pretty Peacock, is darker. I had people ask me that at class. It is definitely darker than the Lost Lagoon, and as I said, the Lost Lagoon does lighten as it dries, so you'll see that happen even as we sit here. Okay, and then I am going to take just a scrap of white paper, of the design of the basic white paper, and using crumb cake ink, I am going to stamp the trunk of the tree. You may not have even noticed that that was there, but it was. And there we go. And we're going to use that just to stick out at the bottom of the tree, just to kind of finish it off. You don't have to do that, but I like the way that looked. So I'm going to go and die cut these out, and through the magic of television, voila, we have our tree. And as I said, I use the tree with the 4 tiers. You can see how that worked. Okay, so we cut it out that way, but we could have done it bigger or smaller. So we have our tree, we have our trunk. So I'm going to, just at the base here, I'm going to add the trunk just with a little adhesive, and I'm going to put the pointy side up. If we put it down, it would go, you know, into the ground, but I just want I don't want the pointy side sticking down from my card. So there we go. So now we have a little trunk base of our tree. Ta-da! And then I'm going to go ahead and put it onto our tag using dimensionals, and I'm down to the sides again. So I'm going to just take a full strip. Look at this. So that's what I love about using the sides of the dimensionals, is I can just pull out a whole big strip and do the right down the center, and it's all taped up. Okay, so we have that, and I'm going to put the tag on a little at a jaunty angle, as I like to say. My stampers will recognize that. Here we go, my jaunty angle. And now we want to add a little bit of ribbon to the top of this tag. And this is the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon. It's a quarter inches wide. And I'm going to take enough to tie just, you know, a simple knot. And I love this ribbon. It's really easy to work with. I find it interesting that it's called bordered. You can barely see the border, but it does have a little bit of a border there. And the handy dandy hole already cut out with the tag makes it nice and easy. I'm just going to tie a knot, single knot. You can do more than that if you want. And then you can trim the excess if you feel you have too much. I always like to trim the ends of my ribbon on an angle as well. Just gives it a nice finished look, I think, but that of course is up to you. All right, so we get that. And then I want to show you, we have this wonderful, wonderful Glimmer paper. This Glimmer paper is an online exclusive, so you can find it in the online store. You can just do a search on Glimmer, and it will be one of the things that come up. It comes with two 12 by 12 sheets of Glimmer paper. One is silver, and one is this gold, which is really shiny and pretty. And the best part about it, I didn't mention it, it's self-adhesive. So really, really easy to work with, really fun. And then I'm just going to use a star, and this die also comes in the die set. So we will go ahead and do that. And here we have our star. Now the only thing about this self-adhesive is that it can be a little tricky getting the backing off. And all I do is use my take your pick tool, and I poke the paper. Now, because of the texture of the other side of the paper, you're really not going to poke through it, or if you do, it's not going to do any damage, but you can see that the backing comes right off with the pointy end of your take your pick tool. And I'm going to go ahead and put a star on the top of the tree. And there we go. So pretty. Just gives a little bit of sparkle to everything. And now we're going to go ahead and put it onto our card base. And I'm going to use dimensionals for that. And I guess, where did my ends go? Here we go. I'm going to use another strip because I can. Love that. And I'm going to just put it on an angle. And I'm going to adhere right pretty much in the center of the card, so that the tree is, I think it's just a little bit right of center. But I did make my tree straight. I wanted the tree to be straight and everything else to be at the jaunty angle. Okay, and then the last thing is to use some of our festive pearls. I've been obsessed with these festive pearls lately. They come in silver, gold, red, and then this lovely blue, which I think is Lost Lagoon. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually a pool party, or what color it actually is supposed to be, but it blends in perfectly with the Lost Lagoon. And so there we have it. So that is that simple card, and a whole bunch of little products for you to see, and the Winter Garden paper. So let's see, let me pop back over here and see. to just send another little message if you need anything Stampin' Up wise. You can let me know. Another thing to note is that if you're a member of my Stampers Jersey Stampers team, uh, any of my classes are half price, and you can come to any of them. We also have a sign bonus this month. A special on the starter kit, so it's really, really reasonable. So if you have a list of any length, actually, you can take a look at my blog at brendamillersu.com and see all the wonderful things that you get this month for joining, and you get to be part of my team, and I'm really excited about the things that we're doing. So if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to pop me a comment or DM me. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye now.